We're going to transition now to a speaker who every single speaker has recognized Congresswoman McCollum for her leadership in transit. I can tell you that from the business community's perspective, it's extraordinarily tempting to fall into this default of Republican versus Democrat. We don't see it that way. I know the Woodbury Area Chamber of Commerce doesn't see it that way. We see it as, do you support the business community? And in Congresswoman McCollum's case, she supports the business community. Transit is a business competitive advantage. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here this morning.
I'm fired up and ready to go to kind of take it, you know, in a different way that we need to reclaim back, not just one party's slogan, because we've got some big work to do up at the legislative branch, and I'm excited about doing it. So to Washington and Ramsey County who are here, thank you, thank you, thank you. We've got lots of county commissioners, lots of support staff. To the chambers, the worker bees, the people who provide the jobs and the opportunities for families to settle and grow and achieve success. Thank you to all the work that you've done. To my other colleagues, both in the legislature, I know you've got your work cut out for you. I've been there when this has been happening. But I think it's really important that we're gathered here this morning, and a lot of us are here as elected officials. Ted is reinvigorated and ready to work on things and knows things from the city level to the county level. Chuck and I, Chuck started out on the school board, and I've gotten to know my great mayor from Woodbury. Thank you so much. But you know what? What all of us have in common, whether we're the business community here working on it or whether we're one of the local officials, started out as a hockey dad or whatever, is we care about our community. We didn't wake up one morning and say, geez, I think I'd like to go door knocking and go out and raise money. We ran because we saw a need in our community to create the same opportunities for the next generation as what we had in these great communities growing up. And so that's what we're all working on. And when we heard from the two commissioners who got up and spoke, we have some unique challenges here in the East Metro. We have to get 2, if not 3 counties on board to do anything. But you know what? That just makes everything we do 3 times as strong. Or in this case with Gateway, twice as strong. I represent 300,000 people. A third of them are part of the transit area for Gateway. Josh and I, on the way here, I had him take the detour when we drove over by Beaver Lake and that. It's a transit island in over there. And a lot of those folks don't have bus access, but they go to work every morning and they'd like to lower their costs, and they don't want to be stuck in the traffic jams. Well, we have them, but with the weather, there must be another word besides traffic jam. Right? That we have parking lots. They're in the parking lot. Very good. They don't want to be in the parking lot. Their employer doesn't want them in the parking lot. So this is about, being family friendly, energy efficient, and getting to work on time so that the businesses can run economically. But I just want to take a second and talk about what's going to be pending up at the legislative session. We can't kid ourselves about what we're up against. One of the other quarters, who shall not be named, is running into a little bit of difficulty because they didn't do all the planning that Ramsey and Washington County have done, all the collaborative work with the business community, the collaborative work with the neighborhoods. I mean, the work's been done. These people I've attended some of the Gateway Commission meetings. They have really put the pencil to the paper and erased things and then rework them. So I know what happens with the votes up there. Because here again, our East Metro legislators have to come from different counties, different cities. They have to get different political parties all together to move together to make the East Metro strong. And if they're not working together as a team, if we're not supporting them as a team, it's really, really hard. Because Minneapolis has a big block, and the West Metro has a big block, and they have their ideas and their hopes and dreams for their communities just like we do for ours. So we have to work together as a team, and I want to thank the chambers for taking the lead to bringing us together, because we don't have the same opportunities to fall in place together as often as the West Metro does. But I'm glad you brought up Peter, because I do believe Peter gets it. If we're going to grow, if the Twin Cities are going to grow, it has to be east to west, north to south. We have to grow. If we're going to compete to keep 3M, Cargill, and I can go back and forth between Minneapolis and St. Paul anchors, First Banks. We have to make the investment around the Twin Cities area, and we've started doing that. We've got a first-class international airport, do we not? And we're fighting to keep the gates open there. We have refurbished and restored and returned to grandeur and repurposed a building for its original purpose at Union Depot. We've had our act together. We've got the anchors. Now we have to build the web that supports those anchors, the web that supports the businesses. And we're in a lot of competition in Washington, D.C., Kansas, Chicago. Heck, Iowa's even looking at us. Everybody knows that their future to be competitive is not just within their state or within their immediate region, but it is throughout the United States and it is throughout the world. So our business leaders here are giving us the right signals and the right cues that they're ready to work with us if we're ready to do the work. But Washington has some work to do too. We have to, as a country, invest more in infrastructure. You know, the Chinese government, they don't have these big discussions like we're having. Somebody just decides to do it. I don't want to live in China. I want to live in a free democracy, but I want to live in a democracy where we get together, we hammer out the ideas, and we're going forward. We're moving forward. So we need to come up with a 5-year transportation plan so that you can do the planning at the state and the local levels. And so that our constituents, the people that we all work together with, know that we're building not only for today, but for tomorrow, just as our grandparents did. Just as all that World War II housing I just drove by, all the people who walked to the factories, got on the bus line and went to the factories. Well, the economy's changed, and our business community has told us what we need to connect the dots to get the workers to be successful so that they can be successful, so that the Twin Cities can be successful, and believe it or not, that means America will be more successful. So I'm here to do whatever I can. We all work for the same people. We just have different job descriptions on our doors. So I never forget that it says U.S. Representative, Minnesota, and 4th. So I'm going to take that triangle and I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to make sure that the 4th district is the base on the top when it comes to transportation this year. So count me in for whatever you need. Many of you know Josh. We've got a lot of work to do. We're capable of doing it. And I think with leadership from Peter, and we had a great conversation with the Metropolitan Council, that they're realizing from everything that you read, everything that you see happening, where trains and transportation from Washington, D.C. grew a corridor. From Florida, they're starting to connect into Atlanta, growing a corridor. California's growing a corridor. We need to have our anchor here. So we're locked and ready to go to be the corridor between Kansas City in here, between Chicago in here, between Winnipeg in here, Toronto in here, so that when our kids are our age, they're looking and saying, you did good. You planned for the future. Thank you.
Congresswoman, thank you. I love the inverted pyramid. So,